I used AI to analyze his fighting style using his footage.
Do you see the younger generation getting involved more or less?
I want to take your most dangerous featherweight, whoever you got. I don't care who it is.
Welcome to our first podcast.
Every corner in America.
Where did the idea come from?
We close deals. That's what we do in Miami.
Right here.
Pete, welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
I know.
The last time we were talking, I was training a heavyweight for a Muay Thai tournament. It wasn't even training. He was fighting that night of that podcast.
Okay.
And so later on that night, I proceeded to lead this trooper, this absolute juggernaut, to victory. And he fought two heavyweights in the same night under a Muay Thai rule set, and he went home with a Muay Thai belt as a champion. A few days later, I was fired as a coach.
I know. I heard that. I saw that on your Facebook. So tell me the story here. What happened?
So the head coach over at that gym, he had brought me on as his striking coach for that group. I never asked for any pay. I made it a point to be a fully philanthropic project. Not to go too deep into it, but I kind of had this mindset of like, look, I've been so selfish my whole life. Especially when we're young, we can be potentially selfish. Mm-hmm. And I always had so many generous coaches and mentors throughout, my adulthood. Just so many people that looked out for me and expected nothing in return. I'm like, I need to do the same thing. Like, I have a good job. I'm doing well. Like, let's commit myself to something more than just myself, something greater. And so I just started coaching these guys. And not all of them necessarily adhered to my fighting style or my training style, and that was fine. They took the classes and they did well, but some of the guys really adopted what I was teaching, and those are the guys that I definitely hyper-focused on. I made shorts for people. I made them gear. I trained them in not just pad work and striking, but also strength and conditioning, took them to the gym, and I never took a cent. There were times where I would open up my bag after they would leave a session, and I would just look in my bag, and I'd see a couple of 20s in there. They would throw money in my bag knowing I wasn't going to take it. So, and God bless them. They're such good guys over there. And I still to this day wish all of those fighters well, and the non-fighters even, the casuals that just wanted to have fun. Like, I know that it meant something to them, and I know that they enjoyed it because they told me all the time, like, dude, that was so much fun, and blah, blah, blah. I haven't had this much fun training in forever. And that kind of scared that head coach over there. He didn't like that so many guys were so like passionate about it. He didn't trust that I wasn't going to steal his fighters.
He saw you as a threat.
Yeah, which is crazy because I said
stupid.
Because he thought I was going to open my own gym and steal his fighters. Dude, it's not fiscally possible. I could not afford it working 60 hours a week at my law enforcement job and opening a gym, running it, and teaching classes. Like, there's just no chance. Like, and I told him when he originally expressed his concerns when I first started training or teaching there, he was like, I'm kind of like, it's kind of weird. Like, how are you doing all this without money and like blah, blah, blah. And I was like, dude, I don't want to open a gym until I move back to Texas. The point is that was a big, not even an ego L. That was more of a emotional, like, it just sucked, man. It just sucked. It hurt so bad, especially coming off that win. Like, all of us as a collective were just riding that high of that win, for Keenan to win that championship.
You know what? This is what I tell everybody. All the companies I work with, we always hire our weakness. We find someone that people like. You're benefiting his business. You were helping him to grow his business.
I brought him fighters too. I brought him people to subscribe.
And I bet you after you left, something happened.
I will say I was really glad to hear that everyone collectively said like, hey, this isn't okay. Like, we don't like this. Like, he was helping us. And I was hearing a lot of that. He even said, he was like, I know he was good for you guys. But then he would say like, but I have to feed my family. Like, blah, blah, blah. He really was 100% convinced that I was going to steal his poach his fighters and create my own establishment, which is weak. Was not possible.
He's very weak.
Weak and not possible.
No. Yeah. Let me tell you this. I watched a video. I can't remember what's her name, but she said, haters, that mean you're doing good. Mm-hmm. When they pretend it's you, they mimic you, that mean they want to be you. Mm-hmm. When they talk behind your back, that mean you're doing fantastic. Get used to it. If you are one of these 3 or 4, feel good. So you're one of them. Mm-hmm. You will let go for helping people for free and still had that impact and threatened that guy. And that's how we win, by the way, in our business. I always give free services to show you who we are, like a little taste. Mm-hmm. Then after that, it's at the end of the day, it's business. In your case, it's coaching. Because I coached people for free for years, and I'm willing to do it again and again. Because one of these guys, if he's become a champion, he'll call you, say thank you.
He still does to this day. To
Right.
this day, he's like, hey,
Someone.
let's get a session in. Let's get some work in. And I'm not saying I'm not like I have had sessions since then with this guy and stuff and others as well. But my heart's not as in it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know. Or the disrespect towards me is very apparent. But not from these guys. They're all very respectful to me.
These bodybuilders, I read every one of them. I learned something from them. Some of them got kicked out of some gyms because they were a threat to a local guy who might be the champion. Then one day they all got together and they said, we're wrong. We need to learn from each other. What got you to get back again at the gym, the workout?
So I was actually already getting ready for this fight that I'm fighting in October. I was already, before all that upset happened, I was already getting ready for this fight. And the ink hadn't been on paper yet, but I had already told the promoter over at Fight Sports, which is going to be in St. Anne's, I already told him, like, hey, I want to take your most dangerous featherweight, whoever you got. I don't care who it is. And he offered 𝘧𝘪𝘯𝘀𝘀, and he's out of St. Charles MMA. It's a really good gym. They're really serious guys. They have several guys that have come out of that gym to go on to the UFC, and a lot of guys that left other gyms to go there. Kind of the UFC just crossed paths with him at some point. And he did really well. I know his nickname's the Moose. He did lose, but, I mean, I'm proud of the dude. Like, it's cool to see our St. Louis fighters make it to the big show. That's his teammate, so he's training with guys like Joaquin Buckley, Sean Woodson, the guy I just mentioned, a lot of up-and-comers locally as well. It's under no means is it going to be an easy fight. Like, he hits hard, he pressures like I do. He's really aggressive. His nickname is 𝘬𝘪𝘯𝘀. That's why I put a bull in the poster to promote my fight. You know, like, it's me kind of like a matador with the flag, and you see the bull. And at no time does it look like I'm disrespecting him or making him look like a little calf, because, like, I actually do know that he's the wolf at the door. I have no disrespect towards the dude. I don't know if he feels the same way about me, but I'm getting ready to fight a freaking monster, and those are the camps that I do best in. But check this out. He's 2-1. He's not any like knockout losses on him or anything like that. What I did do, taking it to the bank on this one, but I used AI to analyze his fighting style using his footage, study him, to study me, and to Venn diagram the middle. So
are you serious?
I swear to God. He does MMA, but the ground thing being taken out of the equation, that factor, it's all stand-up. It's all stand-up.
Okay, listen up. This is an AI conversation. You took a video, a content.
Several videos. I said, here's a YouTube link. Study this guy.
And you put yourself and said, what do I need to do to beat this guy? Now, if you win, we're going to have a big deal about this AI comparison. So what did the AI tell you?
I'm not going to tell you that. AI is one of my best friends right now, man. I had it study everything, but I was like, hey, what am I bad at? What is a way that I could lose? And like that kind of refers back to, sure, I'm talking about AI, but I'm also going to refer to Bruce Lee, where he talks about the art of dying, where it's like everyone wants to win. Nobody wants to lose. Everyone's so hyper-focused on winning, but nobody knows how to die. Learn to die. Be water. So the acceptance of that, like, no, Jose could fucking kill me in that ring. Like, he could really take me out. I could be potentially not ready for something he does. The more I respect him, the more I visualize how I lose, and I build my base on imagining how I lose, the more I avoid that possibility and create my own reality. I create my own outcome. I manifest that. It's not a delusion. It's not like, oh, because like I got an iron chin, bro, and you know, my stand-up is just too much for him. No. It's like, no, I know he could kill me. And so I'm going to train to make sure that doesn't happen.
When is it? When is the fight?
October 18th.
October 18th. In St. Louis, Missouri.
You said you already bought it.
I'm coming. Trust me, I'm coming.
Yeah.
This is my second one. I'm bringing Sam with me, the guy you saw the morning. Yeah. And I'll find a couple of friends.
Hey,
and we'll
whatever
come
you've
over.
seen at Shamrock, this is going to be way better, bro. I promise.
I love all the fights. How's St. Louis?
At least I knew from years working prior that with the heat comes the craziness. And it's wild because I actually love this weather. Like, even as miserable as hot it is, I actually love it because it reminds me of home. I would rather be in this than air so cold my skin hurts. But yeah, with the heat brings the crazies. And I think like drug addicts, and I'm just being honest, like crackheads and stuff like that, the heat makes them even crazier. So they are willing to do some ballsy stuff.
Yeah, no.
And I've been getting a lot of workout like in the city, like in North City and really like rough parts of our industrial districts and stuff. Pretty wild. Like just this past week, I've had an incident where someone pulled a knife out and I had to de-escalate that verbally. I didn't want to draw my weapon. Because like everyone I talked to after the fact, everyone in law enforcement and outside of law enforcement said, dude, I would have pulled my weapon out, like for sure. And I'm just like, I just knew in my gut that I didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Because she was scared. That's why she had the knife.
She was a woman?
Yeah, it was a woman. It was a woman, and she was being accosted or attacked by like 12 or more people. And so when she came back out of her apartment knowing that those attackers were there, she came out with a fillet knife. We called for the police several times. They did not come. And I mean, St. Louis on Friday night, I get it. There's probably some horrible stuff going on, so whatever. So I had to handle it myself, and I was able to de-escalate the situation. And and at the end of the night, nobody went in handcuffs at the end of the night. You know what I mean? Everyone went home safe. Nobody got hurt. Everything was chill. And that's pretty much all I could ask for.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
At least nobody got hurt. I was in this situation. Oh, I had a knife got pulled on me. I am in a party and so little English, like literally not even a month, 2 weeks maybe in America.
Yeah, barely.
And one of my friends, he says, you know what? We have a birthday party for my girlfriend. You're coming in. Okay. Thank you for your invitation. What's in the party? I don't know. His fiancée was Colombian. The guy's an Arab. She's Colombian. You put an Arab and Colombian, problem's going to happen. All what I remember, I'm standing outside talking to a couple of guys outside the house. I got bored. A lady comes and says, your friend in trouble. My friend? What friend?
Oh, no.
I thought he owned the house. So I walked in. I said, what's going on? So I walk up to 3 guys surrounding him, and he's literally in the corner. I said, guys, what's going on? I'm like, to them, I'm his friend, and I'm coming to fight. And I really wasn't fighting. I don't even know.
They thought you were the backup.
I put my hand on someone's shoulder, pulled a knife, and I am like in Middle East or in some countries.
Right.
If they come and say, hey, man, it's, when they touch you, that means it's peace.
Habibi,
Right. Calm down, man.
Yeah.
Come on, it's all good.
Right.
I was like, hey, man, what's going on? All what I see is knife and 2 guys attacking me. And I am not prepared for anything. I rushed back toward the wall. Mm-hmm. And all I remember, one of them is chasing me. With all my strength, I pulled my leg and bam, pushed him here in his chest.
Spartan kick right in the middle.
Yeah. So he flew and fall. So the knife is out. Mm-hmm. The other guy coming to me, the guy who was cornered, attacked with a stick. I don't know what it is. And then 3 of them, the guys were surrounding him, ran out. Mm-hmm. I think they were drunk because something is not right. The guy was full, like messy. Ran outside. They closed the door. They said, call the cops. They're bringing in a gun. They have a gun in the car. I'm like, a gun? A knife? A gun? Within 2 weeks in America? What the fuck is this? Mm. And what saved me is my little martial art techniques that I learned with some simple guys and my boxing.
Exactly. If you have a basic understanding of not just boxing, but also just a little bit of like, I wouldn't even say technically grappling. Like you did Aikido, you said, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Is that like something you're going to use in the UFC?
No,
but that's not the point. But when it comes to a drunk moron attacking you,
Yeah.
Aikido does have its place, specifically for that. Wrestling being my main weakness. When I started accepting that it was my weakness, I started studying it more and working at that gym. I would still come in for the grappling classes just to, have some fun and work mainly takedown defense. So the coach there would teach us that, and I would work with my buddies, and they got me really good, and it helped me understand that like a simple sprawl and getting underhooks is a game changer. Against a basic wrestler, if you are really good at stand-up, if you can just get some good takedown defense. But with Khabib, though, I mean, the base of their fighting style in Dagestan is Sambo, which is like... it's
grabbing.
Well, no. Everyone thinks that that's what Sambo is. It's a part of it, but Sambo, if you watch... Have you seen John Wick 2? Or maybe 3?
Okay.
Where he's walking through one of the hotels, and there's like an underground training center, and they're like tossing each other and stuff. Uh-huh. They're working Sambo. They're not working Judo. They wear gis, Thai athletic shorts, and they wear MMA gloves, and they usually wear headgear in competition. And so, like, headbutts are legal, takedowns are legal, boxing is legal, like kicking, all of it. It's Muay Thai with judo and headbutts. And so you mainly see the wrestling, though, because it's just so devastating. If you get taken down, it doesn't matter how good your boxing or kickboxing is if you're on the ground. And so immediately, like, they would just drag people down and submit them and finish them. And that's what they taught Spetsnaz in Russia. That's their special forces. It's their rangers, you could say.
And that's what they teach them. Mm-hmm. Khabib, man, he just grabbed the guy. He just does not let him go until he's out.
Mm-hmm. And then you see guys, like seasoned vets, gasping for air while he's smothering them. He's like drowning them.
Speaking of MMA and fighting and everything, do you see the younger generation getting involved more or less?
Yeah, I think that people
they're more?
Yeah, because from what I can tell, it sounds like younger guys are more interested because it's so in their face. Now, how long they stick with it, I'm not really sure, but a lot of guys want to try. Like, there's this kid from a bank that my company works at, it has a post as I come check on this post, and I run into this kid. He's like 20, and he played hockey and did whatever high school sports. Found out I was a fighter, and he's like asked me questions for weeks about it and always talking to me about it. And eventually he's like, hey, I think I really want to come train with you, man. Like, I was like, okay, like, sure, why not? And so now he's hooked. He already invested with the kickboxing gym that I'm at. Shout out to Madhouse kickboxing off of Hampton. Matt Tinker, you're the man. But he came to that gym, took one class, and the next day he said, yeah, I'd like to pay for 6 months up front. But some guys do that. Well, they'll pay in advance because that makes it so that they don't have a
Commitment.
choice.
They commit to you now.
If they commit without going, like if they pay all that and don't go, they feel like they're getting robbed. So they're just going to keep going.
That's
it's a very
awesome.
Intelligent choice.
Good.
Yeah. And that's why I like those in training, because it's not as damaging to the brain. That's the one thing you got to keep going, But I'll cook their liver though. And I feel like for the younger guys, that's an important lesson. Like they're head hunting and I'm moving and I'm blocking and then suddenly bam, leg kick. And they're like, oh God, like,
They feel it.
Yeah. And so I let them know that there's levels, but crying, no, quitting, no. A lot of humbling in play.
Did you have to call someone and say, why are you missing today and last time?
When I was coaching, I used to, but when I'm in camp, I don't care. It's not my priority anymore. Not until I start coaching again.
Why do you love fighting?
Well, a lot of the disrespect recently towards me has been because I was like, okay, I guess everybody forgot. Like, even the fights that I lose, like, someone's going to the hospital. So I guess y'all forgot. So now I'm going to come back and remind y'all one last time. And so I'm marketing and promoting this fight as my last walk. The last skinwalker taking his last walks.
I wish I had the ability to do this when I was your age, but it's never. I do it a little bit here and there. But
unfortunately, 34 is like where it starts getting. And luckily, I'm really well educated, and I have a good base of support for like self-care and stuff like that. Like I know how to take care of myself and what therapy I need. For a last run, for one last fight, I think it's probably, I'll be okay. But after this, I really should stop. I can't keep going. Like, even my training will be minimized after this. Like, I'll only pop in every once in a while. But I just got to get this last thing done.
Yeah.
I mean, the last loss I had, like, it was a bad call. We talked about it on the last show. It was just a bad call from the ref. Everyone knew it was a bad call. The commentators knew it was a bad call. And so it's like, I had to retire on that note. And I was like, I can't live that down. So 2 years later, I'm like, I refuse to live that, to just act like that didn't happen. So I'm getting back in there. Even if I lose this next fight, if I lose, it's going to be because I was beaten by a better person, and any call that's made is a good one.
Good.
And so like, it's going to be a war no matter what.
There's no losing. We're winning.
Yeah, 100%.
But if it happened, anything possible.
Yeah,
anything
but
possible.
I'll fight to the death and do my best no matter what. And that's all I can really ask for.
That's awesome. That's good. What is wrong with men these days? They're being softened too much.
Not to be a conspiracy theorist, but I think there's something to be said with microplastics, with soy-based products, all these things that lower testosterone. I'm not saying that's the reason. They're making the frogs gay. Like, no, it's not Alex Jones. But there is an argument to be had that dropping testosterone in today's men, young men, especially in their developmental stages, absolutely affects their aggression and energy later on in life. That's math. It's been proven. Microplastics are going to kill us all if we don't figure out a way to clean it up. I've been doing lots of mass gaining and powerlifting and building muscle mass, but I wasn't worried about like the extra weight gain. And so then when it came time to lose the extra weight, it just fell off, and I looked bigger because of it, because I had already put all this muscle on it. I went home to Texas, and every time I go home, I always shave for my mom because she doesn't ever stop complaining about facial hair. But it's going to come back. It's just going to be a mustache.
How many in the family?
Mom and dad, 2 younger brothers, 1 older sister.
You're Texan and born, raised, always there.
I didn't leave San Antonio until I was 19, and that was for when I enlisted in the Marines. So
how's your practice, your schedule, what time you wake up, what time you go to bed?
My job dictates my schedule, unfortunately, but not always consistent. Like, I could be working 40-something hours one week, I could be working 65 hours the next week, and that can change on like one night. In one night, they flip my schedule and they're like, hey, sorry, but our clients make demands or whatever. But right now, and my boss hasn't said it, but I can tell he's kind of setting it up to where I can train in the evenings and afternoons. He's working with me, and he's doing a good job.
Good.
And because I asked him for it, I was like, hey man, if you could start, kind of cutting back my hours a little bit. 65 hours plus training full time is like,
it's kicking your ass.
Yeah, like the only time I'm really training is late at night when I get off of work and I'm going to the gym at 1 a.m. or something like that, which is good. It works, and it's a great time to be at the gym. It's empty.
Nobody's there.
But my kickboxing coach isn't meeting with me
No.
at 1 a.m. No,
he's...
I'm surrounded by support. Everyone that loves me and cares about me and wants to help, they are helping some way, shape, or form. Everyone's pitching in, and I think that when it's all said and done and this chapter of my life is closed as a fighter, I will be able to say that it was, and it's so corny because everyone's like, I just want to thank everybody that like supported me this far. No, really, it's the support is the reason I made it this far. If I was really alone, if I was really by myself, as lonely as the road feels, I would have made it this far. So
your girl, she push you too?
Well, you'll see her as my corner in every fight ever.
Good.
So she's always there, 100%. The one kickboxing fight, she wasn't my corner. She was a ring girl.
Okay.
So I
She was
still
there.
felt support. I still
Yeah.
felt the support.
Have you been in the ring?
I've never fought in a ring, actually. I'm training in a ring right now to get ready for this.
Everything in the ring.
Every fight I've had has been in the cage.
But this time in the ring, not a cage.
It's my first ring fight, and it happens to be my last fight in general. So, and all my kickboxing outside of Muay Thai has been in the cage as well. So all I've ever known is cage fighting. I even fought in a hexagon one time, where it's a 6-sided, not an 8-sided.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tighter corners. That's going to be a cool experience. I'm going to like it. I enjoy fighting in the cage because once you put somebody up against the cage, they don't get to rope-a-dope. That's not something that
Yes.
happens. They're
Yeah.
stuck. The mats in cages are meant for wrestling. They're 3-inch wrestling mats,
Yeah.
whereas I think in a ring, I think it's like a 1.5 inch. But being in a ring a couple days ago, I can definitely say that you can dig in more and sit on your punches and kicks and stuff. So I'm excited that everyone gets the view that they do in a ring, but they get that view, whereas in a cage you have to see through the fence. And in the ring, you could just watch it. You know, it's right there. It's happening in front of you.
Actually, I would like it more in the ring than the cage.
I don't know if they're going to do it on this card, but they might have MMA on that card as well. What they'll do is they'll attach in the middle of the fight, like, and for the next match, we have an MMA bout. And you'll see these people working the promotion, they put a 4th rope
so they
through
don't-
around so
so
they
they
don't
don't-
fall through the sides. And there's a little bit of a risk, but it's just cool. And when you see that 4th rope come out, you know it's going to be crazy.
Have you ever been in a situation?
I have to really think about it because it's like I don't put myself in positions where stuff like this can happen. Like, most of when I have to put somebody in their place or calm down a situation as it's happening, it's been at work, whatever. But I have a very imposing attitude, I think, when I'm out in public, like around, because people who are fighters, who are martial artists, who train, even boxers, they don't pick fights in public as much as you would think. So it's always somebody who's untrained that's picking a fight, and they don't know you fight. They don't know who you are.
Yeah.
And so you have to have like kind of an imposing figure. Like you have to change, like you have to put on a mask when you're dealing with stuff like that. That dissipates most of my issues with anybody.
You know when I do? When the guy with me or the girl with me being attacked.
That's where I lose my shit.
That's when you lose yours, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I understand I can defend myself
And
if
the cool
anything
thing
happens.
is like Steph, she's also crazy too. So if somebody touches her wrong or brushes her wrong or something like that, she may resort immediately to like a left hook. I don't know, because she trains. So she's an animal too. So like I don't really have to worry about her being attacked as much as her having to be bailed out of jail for messing somebody up that played with her.
I think one time one guy was, I don't know, they were just talking to my mom. My mom is very sweet. Old lady, she has covered her head. She has her stick and she's walking. And I don't know, someone said, move or something.
Oh, no.
So I went and I said, she's new here, she doesn't speak. Yeah, tell her to move. I'm like, dude, I told you, that's my mom. Like, I don't know what happened. It's just automatically. I just grabbed him from his back of his neck. I just, come here. I said, that's my mom. Okay. I said, okay. Get the fuck out of here. Okay. Like, I don't know what to tell this guy. If she could have been an old lady, I would have done the same thing. But my mom doesn't understand.
I think that's the only thing that would cause me to see red and really like black out and rage, is it like watching someone
mom.
I love, or my mom, my girlfriend, my
Your lady.
fiance. And there's been times like that where she was assaulted by 2 girls at one of the fight promotions in 2023, and it was a disgusting turn of events. And when it comes down to it, the trash was never held accountable. We were gaslit for it, and we had the entire fight community turned against us off of a lie. Long story short, she got assaulted by 2 women. One of those women, her fiance, grabbed me, bear hugged me from behind. He was like a big dude, like he was, another fighter, and he bear hugged me from behind. And while she's getting jumped by these 2 girls, like she can't hold her own against multiple attackers. Like I don't train her for that. I was trained for that. I'm also a whole ass man. She's 5'2" and tiny, and only 4 years into training in martial arts. She's stunned by this attack. That was the angriest I think I had been in years, and still to this day, nothing has made me angrier. And that was that moment. And what made the guy, her fiance, the guy that was grabbing me, let go of me, I said, Oscar, I swear to God, if you don't let go of me, I'll fucking kill you. And he was like, and he let go. And I grabbed her purse, and I said, we were leaving. And she's like, oh, fuck you. Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, we're leaving right now. Like, you got to know, like from a military perspective, you got to know when to pull out and leave. Like, you got to know when to get out of there, buddy.
Yeah.
One thing I love about America is the melting pot of culture. That's what makes us great.
Yeah.
What makes us different is what makes us great.
And I want to tell everybody about America. And being immigrant here for 35 years, and seriously, I have not experienced racism. I did not. Maybe someone else. Maybe they're scared of me because I'm too big, because maybe I just don't pay attention to it. Racism starts from people the same race. Actually, they make fun of each other. So, and it travels, it travels. Is it exist? Yes, it exists. I was fortunate, I was very lucky not to experience. I've been accepted. Part of the racism, by the way, is fearing us. They don't know me. I moved into a neighborhood in Illinois. I was the only single guy with 10 married families.
Yep.
Of course, I'm not going to like that. There is a single guy in the neighborhood. So I walked up to the neighbors and I knocked on their doors and I introduced myself and I told them who I am and what I do. And I appreciate you guys accepting me in the neighborhood. I live in that house. Just keep an eye on my house. I'll keep an eye on your house when I'm not available. I travel a lot for business.
How was that received?
Holy, I woke up next day, all gifts on my door.
Wow, that's good. See, I tried to do that.
I woke up, seriously, popcorn,
That's beautiful.
wine. I don't even drink. I started giving my wine to my friends. I'm the only one single guy in a neighborhood. I knocked on the door. They're like, oh my God. And one of them told me, you know what? If you need anything, man, my garage is open. You go and get in anything you want.
I
If
love
you need.
that, man.
Till today, I'm still messaging them. Thank you so much. And they were following me and everything. And
I love that for you, man. It's just St. Louis has so much animosity. But like as an example of that, Friday night where I had that knife pulled out on me and all that, you know, earlier in the evening. So the focus of that job, what we were doing that night, was focusing on an apartment area, multiple apartment buildings that got absolutely crushed by that tornado that came through. And I mean, God bless everyone that was affected by it. It's so sad. A lot of displaced families.
is it still till now?
They're still being fixed. I could be wrong, but I think billions of dollars of damage in general in the city. From 20 or 30 minutes of a tornado, billions of dollars of damage.
Did you see that neighborhood?
Yeah, I was there. That's what we were guarding. We were guarding it from being looted by scrappers and looters.
Ooh, so
they
tell
had
me a
to
little
get-
bit.
One thing that I do like about my company is that, like, where FEMA failed the American people repeatedly, you know, at least as private security companies, like, you know, supply and demand. There's a demand for security. Hey, our stuff can't get stolen, and that's where our company is really good. So we've had a lot of sites where there's like tornado damage, or there's areas that are like disheveled from that tornado or catastrophic, whatever it might be, and we go hold down those areas and make sure we maintain the peace, not just in those abandoned areas but in the nearby populace as well. As long as we're supposed to be there, we're doing our job, because we can only work on the contracted areas that we're at. We don't have jurisdiction outside of where our client is.
Yeah.
Part of that is, you know, one side of this apartment complex is destroyed and the other half is still active and people live there. And so, long story short, whatever the argument may have been between these people, I don't really know, but I was really watching the abandoned buildings. I hear a lot of commotion from people like partying. So like when they're screaming and stuff, it's not always like there's violence or something bad happening. It's just partying. It's how it is. So I hear a lot of noise, and then one of the times I hear, and I look up and I'm like, huh. And then I see from behind the cars a weave go pew, like a wig just go flying into the road. And I was like,
Oh shit!
I was like, yeah, that's probably not good. That's not supposed to happen. And so I freaking went over and I saw chaos. I noticed that part of the reason that crowd had an apprehension towards me is that earlier in the evening, I didn't go and introduce myself to them. I didn't let them know, like, hey, I'm Pete, just so y'all know, I'm here to help you guys. I am not a cop. I'm not here to arrest anyone. I'm just here to make sure everyone stays safe. And when I approached that, people were like, okay, man, what's up, bro? Thank you so much. But I didn't do that night. I hate being treated like a cop, this animosity towards me. When I'm in full uniform, when you see me working, I look like a cop. And so to break that stigma, I have to communicate with people. Hey, how are you? You know, blah, blah, kind of like I've learned to talk to people like they're shelter puppies, not to scare them. My demeanor is so heavily law enforcement.
By the way, this stereotype about cops, it's only in America. Like, you go to other countries, it doesn't happen.
I've had interactions with cops. There is a racial element. I don't care what anybody says. There really is a slight racial element with law enforcement and like interacting with them. But I've learned, even watching other people interact with them, like cops today are getting there's a younger generation of cops. There's a lot more black cops now. And seeing young black cops do their job so well is so freaking awesome. Because, like, I saw a black cop the other day dealing with this other black dude who's yelling at him, screaming at his face. I talked to him on the side at one point. He's 25, been on the force for 2 years. And this guy's yelling at him. He's like, man, look, we're here for you. We're here to help you, dog. Like, if you don't want our help, we can just leave. And he's like, fuck you, I don't want your help, blah, blah. He looks at his partner like, all right, we're out. I dapped him up, and he was out of there. But it's like there's a very relaxed attitude from this new generation of cops, and
Good.
I really like to see it. You know, that's the change we need to see in the
Good.
world.
There is some good things happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I can't speak for small towns. I don't know small towns out in the middle of Missouri.
way.
I don't know. Dude, I pulled up. I'll never forget the day I was pulled over. I had a Scion FRS, which is basically a Toyota 86. It's a little sports car. It's like comparable to like a Miata or something like that. It was fun. I love that car.
Yeah.
It was loud, boisterous, you know, a little import drifter. And I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I'm coming back from a commentator gig out in the middle of nowhere in Missouri. And I'm driving back, and my plates are super expired. Like, super expired. You know, I was irresponsible. Cop pulls me over, and he's like, now, what exactly is it that is an FRS? And I was like, it's the type of car. He's like, well, when I ran your plates, it said Toyota 86, but your car says Scion FRS. I'm like, okay, so earlier, a couple of years ago, Scion was fully bought out and, like, you know, wiped by Toyota. So now all Scion models are basically Toyota models. So every time you blah, blah. And I gave him a whole history lesson, and he's like, all right, hang tight right here. I was like, oh, shit. No, it all worked out. But, like, you know, there's a small town cop mentality, and there's, you know, city cop mentality, and there's pros and cons with both.
You get pulled over and you have a gun. How did they handle it?
Okay, I'm going to tell you I have a cheat code because I've been pulled over recently, and I told you this, I've been pulled over recently more than I've ever been. And every time I'm pulled over, I have to open with the line. I have my hands on the steering wheel open and let them know. And I'm like, hello, officer, how are you? And he's like, license and registration, please. And I was like, hey, just so you know, my duty weapon is inside the vehicle. And I was like, it's in the back seat. It's out of reach. They always say, all right, well, don't show me yours and I won't show you mine. I'm like, sounds good. And then it always leads to them asking, like, okay, well, what company? It's a duty weapon? What company you work for? Or what department? Blah, blah. And by then, it's already a wrap. Like, you know, so it's like a kind of a cheat code. And even before I was working in armed law enforcement, I always opened with it. The honesty is what sets you free. And before I started working in law enforcement and I had my weapon in the car, I would, like, chamber it, unload it, lose the magazine, and split the two so that the two would have, it would take exceptional work to put it together. I'm like, hey, just so you know, my magazine's in the front, guns in the back, you know, it's unloaded. And that, you could see the shoulders of these cops go, oh, okay. Like, oh, I'm relieved to know that you're not armed and gonna kill me. And that's why I don't want to be a cop. I get hella pressure from my leaders, my friends, everyone. They're like, dude, you should just be a cop. And I'm like, I don't want to pull people over. That's where the majority of cops get shot, is on traffic stops. And mad respect to the guys that are able to do that and stay cool.
They get hurt and when they pull people over?
Yeah, dude, I'm sitting like this, cops coming up here. I could so easily, with tinted windows, as soon as the cop walks up, bah, 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 like, he has no idea. That's sad. And ask any cop how they feel, especially a seasoned cop, how they feel on every traffic stop. Every single traffic stop, they walk up and they have that moment where they're like, all right, this might be it. Like, you never know. This might be the day that I get clipped, that I get shot.
I swear to God, most people are having bad days these days, especially the economy, the
in this
pricing.
economy,
it's tough.
Yeah.
People are going through some rough time, and we need to understand their situation.
Empathy and understanding. I've only worked in law enforcement. I have seen what people are capable of. And that, not anymore until the next thing happens, but every time I see something like that, it's like visually traumatic. It does keep me up at night. I don't just go home like, okay, well, I'm glad that's over with. Like, no, like literally while I'm laying there in bed, I remember like the looks on people's faces. Another thing that sucks is how people look at me when I'm like, when I yell at them, like, put the fucking knife down, blah, 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 put it down. And they put it down, and I see, not that person, but the people around me, they're like, and I'm like, hey, everybody calm down. I have to break that stigma of fear towards law enforcement. Like, somebody's got to do it, man. Same night, after all that craziness was over, this lady brought over her little kid and was like, hey, my son was really afraid of you earlier when you were yelling at those people. I was just hoping you could talk to him. I was like, abso-freaking-lutely. Like, yeah. So I got down one knee, turned my hat backwards, and I was like, hey, buddy, how you doing? He's like a little kid. He has little koala eyes. And he was just so scared. I was like, hey, it's okay. You have nothing to be worried about. And it made me feel good to be able to do that, because the guilt of looking around and seeing how that aggression affects people, when especially when you have to do it, it sucks, man.
It does suck.
It sucks, man. But I'm just trying to, just one day at a time, man. One day at a time, do the right thing.
Tonight, where are you going tonight? You said tonight?
I'm just going to go spar for a little bit. It's a light spar day. I've been getting just absolutely shredded in training the past few days, like getting my ass kicked, like just hitting pads and worn out, doing double days and stuff like that.
What weight do you need to be at?
So I'm walking at 160 right now, which is exactly where I need to be to cut to 145.
You're going to go down to 145?
I know what I'm doing, man. I'm pretty good at it. Everyone's like, that's crazy. I'm like, dude, ask Khabib how much weight he cuts. We're talking water mass, like water content. They're eliminating water, which means that it's just the week of, maybe 2 weeks out. 2 weeks out, they're dieting. 1 week out, they're water loading. Like, for example, every day leading up to when I start weight cutting, which is like fights on Saturday, weigh-ins on fucking Friday, which means that Thursday night I'm doing the hardest part of the cut. I'm eliminating all water. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and maybe even Sunday, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm drinking 2 gallons of water. I'm loading up and I'm eliminating sodium from my diet. meaning that there's no sodium, nothing to keep the water on me. So when I start losing weight, the body is convinced through some anatomical thing that I don't understand because I'm a moron, I'm not a doctor. But loading up on water like that and then eliminating it at the last minute, it just comes out of you. And before you know it, you're shredded. Like the first night, it's crazy. I stressed out another one of my coaches for this, but I'll do a super hard cut throughout that Thursday before weigh-ins. And then at night, I'll nibble on like some fruit and stuff like that, stuff I'm not supposed to have. It's not junk, but I'll eat some fruit and, I'll take a couple of sips of water. And then I know that I have a little bit of energy to get through the next day. In the morning, that's when I cut off the rest of that weight. And so like I might regain a pound like that night, but then I'll take it all off the rest of the day. So that way I'm not miserable. I need to go to sleep, dude. Thursday night before weigh-ins, I need to sleep. I don't want to show up a zombie and all tired. Like
because you're tired,
because I'm so hungry and
yeah.
I didn't eat. It's not going to be me. I hate to be rude or mean, but 170 is like one of the most like dead divisions where like a lot of those guys, like remember from GSP, Georges St-Pierre, do you remember the crazy fights that he put on?
Yeah.
That was the golden era of welterweight. Now welterweight's like, if you compared Bilal or JDM, Jack Middlena, I can't remember how to say his name, to GSP, you'd be like, they're not in the same weight class. Those are champions. It's just not the same. Mm-hmm. Now the golden era of fighting is mostly like the main weight that everyone watches is 155.
Yeah.
155 is the most like Khabib.
That's
Conor,
Khabib. Yeah.
You
think Conor's coming back?
No, I don't even know why I mentioned that just now. I'm just saying for the history books, no, I think...
Is he done?
I don't know, man. I don't care. I think he's such a bum, and he's such a black eye on the sport. Imagine being the most respected, one of the best... Have you heard his old interviews when he was fighting at 45? He would talk like a martial artist, like a warrior. He was like...
He changed.
To even talk about him is such a waste. Like, because there's other up-and-coming fights out here. Jackson McVeigh was the name of the guy that fought out of St. Charles MMA that I was trying to remember, but he just went and fought at the UFC, and he lost, but losing in the UFC is not like losing in a local circuit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but you have up and coming names like people that are worth mentioning. I try to ignore the past few years and I try to focus on his days at 145.
Right.
Because what he did during that time and the way he talked, he's like, I'm going to create that dead space between me and Aldo, and in that dead space he'll meet his defeat, knowing that once he got him to stalk forward, he'd bounce forward and then jump back and then hit that left.
Yeah.
He set it up, and the way that he trained it, the way he thought about it, the way he visualized it, he manifested that. That's real martial artist shit.
What's the name of the guy who beat him?
Oh, the Diaz brothers.
The Diaz brothers?
Well, Nate Diaz.
Nate, and then this. I think the beginning of him going down.
Nate, yeah.
Nate, and then after that, Khabib. And he was never the same.
So I did a recent little study on this because it came up in conversation. He fought Floyd Mayweather, and that's what fucked him up. Ever since the Floyd Mayweather fight. If you ask, like, okay, who's a boxer that actually gave Floyd Mayweather a run for his money? Not many people make it to the 10th round.
No.
Conor did. Conor went to the 10th round with the greatest boxer that's ever lived. I don't even like Floyd. I'm just saying. The greatest boxer that ever lived. Getting a run for his money from Conor McGregor, former UFC champion.
I know.
That's crazy. That says something. And that was when Conor was actually good. And after that, after the brain damage he took from that, I think.
So you think it damaged him?
I think it was money. I think it was money too. I think he should have been done right then and there. Either he gets his shit together and goes full steam ahead, or he needs to be done. And that's what he should have done. And now he's an embarrassment to the fight community.
He built a brand and he ruined the brand.
Mm-hmm. Including Proper 12. He had to sell it. That was actually a very successful alcohol brand, regardless whether or not
he sold it.
He had to, yeah. But when we talk about Conor, we're taking away from all the other great martial artists, like Tom Aspinall, for example. Tom Aspinall is the exemplary martial artist, man. Besides bombing people to the face. But it's like, you look at John Jones, also a horrible person. For sure, might have been like the greatest of all time. The debate's there. But you have guys that you can talk about, like Tom Aspinall, JDM, the welterweight champion, like Islam Makhachev. Like, I'm not a fan. I'm just saying that's an amazing martial artist. He actually has better stand-up than Khabib did. There's a lot of hope for the future of the fight community. And
this whole Kazakhstan, Chechenian fighters, they have their
boys, Dagestani and Chechnyan boys. Hell yeah, and then Georgians too. Now we have two Georgian champions. What's his name? 𝘬𝘪𝘯𝘀, who's a straight knockout monster, and then we also have Merab, and they're both out of Georgia, which is crazy. So Europe's taking over the UFC right now, actually. They're just this zone of killers, man.
Isn't it?
I mean, and Joe Rogan talked about it. He's like, you grow up in a war-torn like country and stuff, like you're going to come out a savage. Like, we grow up in the suburbs, and like, one time I saw a bar fight. It was crazy, bro. And these guys over here in Eastern Europe, they're like, I saw my whole family bombed to death by Russians. Like, oh, shit, okay. I haven't had clean water for the first 15 years of my life.
I know,
like,
I know. It's crazy. Dude, good to have you.
Thanks, man. I'll see if AI worked out for me, huh?
I know. Thank you so
Dude,
much.
thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.